comic stew.
And welcome to yet another episode of The Comic Stew, episode 9. And as always, I'm Aaron, and I'm joined by my permanent other host, Mr. JC Argensinger.
I like how he always likes to put in permanent there, like it might not be permanent.
It's permanent. I know that now. I have reconciled myself with it. There's no escaping it.
It just, throws me off every time. You're like, my permanent co-host. And I'm like,
Yeah. Well, if Ian was on, he would definitely be a temporary co-host because I don't want to lock him in. You know what I mean?
Isn't that typically the sort of like thing you refer to as a guest?
Yeah. No, he's going to be a guest host whenever he comes on.
All right.
Yeah. No one knows who Ian is. They'll find out soon enough.
Neither does Ian.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone to another episode. We're recording late again because JC works late, so here we are.
I tried to record early with you yesterday, and you didn't want to.
No. Yesterday was out of the question. I was going on 2 hours of sleep. I think I worked from. I don't even remember. It was kind of a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday would not have been good. It would have been like the 2 episodes ago, or was it last episode where I was just completely delirious?
That's like most of the episodes.
Is that most episodes? Okay. Right. Anyways, thanks people for joining us. We read some stuff this week finally. I'm very happy to say. But first, we're going to start with some news, right?
We are.
All right. Sorry, you were saying something.
I was going to say we read stuff every week, but we just didn't talk about shit last week.
No, we didn't. Yeah, so a decent amount of news this week. I think we should start off with probably the saddest news of the week. And that is that my favorite sheriff of Nottingham has passed away, Mr. Alan Rickman.
Yeah, sad news. Happy trails, Hans.
Yeah, it's funny. All the people I talk to, because I do, like, this whole week I've been asking everyone what their favorite character that he portrayed was. And mostly from, like, everyone who's younger than me, it's, like, to a T, it's been Severus Snape, which I just can't get behind. I mean, he is, to me, the finest portrayal of the sheriff that will ever be seen ever. So and no one picks that as like his best role. I really think it is.
I mean, he's got a lot of great roles. He was the best voice of God I've ever seen
Or heard.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah, and of course Hans.
Obviously he was awesome in Galaxy Quest. And there's an endless number of films. Yeah. I mean, I think the reason a lot of people, pick the, Harry Potter is because he did so many of those movies as opposed to one movie of the other ones.
Right. But in Harry Potter, was there a line like this? Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more. Yeah, I didn't think so. I just wish you could see my face.
Let's all pour one out for how terrible that impression was.
Cool. And on that note, what you sipping on, JC?
Well, since I have a video camera, you can see what I'm sipping on.
Ah, yes, the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Good times.
But I can't see what you're sipping on because your camera is not working again.
Technical difficulties once again. I don't know what's going on. It shows up on the desktop, but not on Hangouts, so I have no idea. I'm sipping on tea tonight. Yep, I'm being boring.
Well, what else is new?
Yeah.
Just to go back to Alan Rickman for a second, he did the voice of Marvin in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Another classic.
Oh, yeah? I never saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff I didn't. I mean, he was very prolific, and I did not see him in nearly I probably only saw. I mean, I really only remember him from a few roles, and he was so prolific. So, yes, R.I.P. Mr. Rickman. You will be missed immensely. And by the way, did you hear that? Or I thought I heard this week that when he played Hans Gruber in Die Hard, that was like his first like major role.
It was definitely an early one. Looking at his IMDb, he had it was his first feature. He had TV movies and TV series before that, so it was his first feature.
There you go. Yeah, pretty much nailed it with the first try.
Killing it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Academy Award nominations also came out. Anything you wanted to talk about? Any surprises? Anything that made you happy?
I really don't care, so I just ignore the Academy Awards. Like, it's cool when a movie I like wins something, but I just really don't care.
Yeah.
I hate award shows. I don't watch award shows. I think it's just a bunch of pretension,
Well, for sure.
broadcast to everyone, and yeah, it's so I really just don't care.
Well, for sure, but we're doing a pop culture, comics, movies podcast, so it's one of those things that people talk about. I was just
Sure.
gonna say,
Well, so you can talk about it and I can listen.
I was just gonna say I was pleasantly surprised by the number of nominations Mad Max got because it was a great film.
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
a lot of times that kind of action film will get overlooked. And then I was also shocked that the Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks Bridge of Spies movie got nominated for Best Picture because I saw trailers for that but didn't hear anyone talking about that movie. So that was kind of
Yeah. I don't know anyone that actually saw that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just, good for them, but I don't know if they got that just because of their names or if it was actually that good.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to find someone that actually saw it and find out.
Right. Anyway.
But yeah, no. What did Mad Max get nominated for? That's probably the only movie I really care about getting nominated.
Got nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it got nominated for for pretty much every category, but got nominated for Best Picture.
Did George Miller get nominated for Best Director?
Did.
I hope he wins that one.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fitting award for that movie for him to win Best Director.
Yeah, I mean, The Revenant obviously also got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, me neither. All right. Well, yeah. Anything else?
I mean, that's pretty much. I think everything else is kind of unsurprising.
Yeah.
Although I would have said, there were probably, I'm sure there's people who will say such and such movie got robbed or, whatever. And obviously, once again, there's controversy because it's the all white Oscars. But yeah.
Yeah, more fake controversy. Who cares? All right. Well, moving on to more interesting things.
Yeah.
This is something you turned me on to, but apparently there's a follow-up to Cloverfield, the monster movie from what was it, like 2006?
Yeah. So
2005?
This trailer just dropped out of nowhere for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Which appears to be a Cloverfield spiritual sequel or whatever. It appears to be. I mean, the trailer looks like the movie's in a fallout shelter and they're hiding from the monster. It's got John Gallagher of Newsroom fame and John Goodman in it, and it looks really intensely. It looks pretty good. I mean, it looks super intense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like a monster movie.
Yeah, it looks more like just kind of a psychological thriller with maybe some comedy, a little bit of comedy thrown in, like some light moments, and Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it.
But I
Um,
mean, it got the trailer got me. I want to see it. So
yeah, yeah. I wonder how much of the movie is actually going to be like in the bunker.
yeah, who knows? Maybe that's the first half hour, or maybe that's 95% of the movie.
Yeah, it would
Um,
be interesting if they went that angle and just kept the whole movie or almost the whole movie in there. I mean, it would kind of make it would make it a little less risky proposition to put out because I don't know how well Cloverfield did when it came out, but I mean, it wasn't like it got a sequel greenlit right away, so you assume this is probably like kind of a low risk uh,
yeah.
follow up film.
Now you haven't seen Cloverfield, right?
I have not now.
See, Cloverfield was another movie where I thought it was a really good movie. But it's one of those movies where the they did something similar, I think, with when they dropped the trailer for that, where it was kind of a mysterious trailer, and then um, the movie it was a creature movie, but there was a lot that was kind of hidden, so it wasn't like the biggest of budgets.
Yeah, yeah, and the way I mean, it was all like it was all found footage, right? Like all like handy cam they shot it on.
I don't think all of it was, but that's how they did the trailer for it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I just remember seeing the trailer and it looked like it was all found footage, but that's cool. Yeah, I actually own that movie. I've owned it for like feels like 10 years now because my buddy Troy got it for me for one of my birthdays and I just never watched it once again.
Kind of like Alias that you owned for 10 years and still not finished.
I was just reading Alias the other night actually, but we've talked enough Alias.
Well,
Um,
except to say that they also just announced that season 2 of Jessica Jones was greenlit.
oh yes, good segue there.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah. They how long did it take them to announce that? What was it like 3 months to actually announce season two?
yeah, not too long.
I mean, it seems like they greenlit the Daredevil series like really fast after season one aired.
I don't know. I think it was probably around the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Because originally they weren't planning on doing second seasons for these shows, which is kind of baffling. But uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they had a vague plan
right,
to do four shows and they just kind of wanted to see
five.
how they did. But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if there'll be one of these that just, kind of end on one season. Like I wonder if Luke Cage will get multiple seasons or I mean, Iron Fist is still kind of a question mark in general, but
Yeah.
I wonder how how they're going to treat those.
Well, especially like obviously Luke and Jessica have this relationship. So, are you going to keep running two series, or are you going to like merge them into one?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, no, that could be a thing. I mean, if they follow the comics, then those two will eventually get married, so it would make sense to have both of them in one series. But I'm sure, I mean, it would boggle my mind if Luke Cage didn't appear in season two of Jessica Jones, and
right.
if Jessica wasn't in Luke's show in some capacity.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Netflix,
Well,
since
hold on. Before we move on, let's just do a little speculation here. I wonder the direction they'll go in season two.
yeah,
Because obviously season one was very heavily focused on the villain.
right. It would be fun, if you've read the comic, it would be fun if they went kind of backwards because all the Purple Man stuff is backloaded in that series. But there's a lot of other stuff that's in the beginning of that series. It's really fun and interesting stuff. It'd be fun if they did some of that stuff from the comic. If they could get, especially some of those actors who have played movie roles to show up for the show, that would be also a cool
Yeah.
cameos.
And typically I'm not like hugely into procedurals on TV, but in this case I would like to see more maybe episode to episode procedural, her solving cases and having like a few cases that are going on during the season, and maybe, of course, there is probably an overall like plot going on, but we have maybe more smaller cases she's working on.
Yeah. Well, it'll definitely be interesting because, yeah, they're definitely not gonna have. They're gonna have to come up with something to make it compelling to live up to that first season.
Yeah. They will have to. Moving on,
but staying on the Netflix track.
Oh wait, are we staying on the Netflix track?
Well, I just thought we could stay on the Netflix track for this moment and say.
Oh, I suppose
there was this other kind of amazingly interesting thing to me, at least, which was Matt Groening of Simpsons and Futurama fame has been pegged to do 2 10-episode seasons for Netflix of an unnamed, uncreated show. So,
yeah.
I mean, if it's anywhere along the lines of those 2 things, I'm down. Obviously, I've always been a huge Simpsons fan, huge Futurama fan. So something new. Hopefully, we can get his creative juices flowing again, and the limited number of episode seasons too should also help in that regard, I would think.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder what he'll come up with. It's just interesting because I guess I wonder how involved he is on The Simpsons nowadays. Like, I wonder if he's kind of like stepped away from that.
Sure, he has. You know, he doesn't do voices. I'm sure he's involved, but not.
Yeah, it's not like he's one of the staff writers. I'm sure it's a well-oiled machine by now. So maybe he just had some like ideas percolating and wanted to like get in there and be more creative and more of a driving force.
Yeah. You know, should be interesting anyway.
Yeah. All right. Can we move on from Netflix? Are we done with Netflix?
Yeah. You're the boss.
Oh, I thought you were the boss, JC.
I just like to give you that illusion.
Hey, tomorrow night when you're playing defense, you're going to be large and in charge, so you better accept that.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain again.
Yeah, I know. Well, it didn't even rain last time. It was, quote, moisture.
Well, it's been moist tonight, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, was that a euphemism?
No, it was like misting all night, motherfucker.
Oh. All right. Yeah, so one thing I noticed actually tonight, right before we recorded, I guess Jeff Johns was on some doing some special, and he revealed the lineup for the Cinematic Justice League.
Yeah.
So I guess it's basically everyone we thought it would be, because they've already basically announced that Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, and of course the 3 heroes from Batman v Superman compose part of the league. But I guess he confirmed that the Green Lantern Corps will be, as this article says, in on the action.
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole Corps, as opposed to like a Green Lantern. But disappointed there's no Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, me too.
But,
yeah, I'm a big fan of John Jones.
Well, c'est la vie.
Yep. Well, hopefully he'll show up at some point, but I don't know. He's
a weird character, though, I feel like, for
yeah, I know he is, but he's a cool character. He's on like the power level of Superman, so
Cyborg's a weird character to put in there, in my opinion, but
it's a weak character.
Yeah,
I really don't have any Cyborg love. I mean,
exactly,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
wasn't he more of like a Young Justice character?
thought so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um, yes.
Speaking of which, on that same Jeff Johns panel or TV show panel, they also released some footage from the Wonder Woman film and a new Suicide Squad trailer.
Oh, really? Oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah. Suicide
Nice.
Squad trailer looks sick,
Yeah.
and the Wonder Woman footage looks really good. Doesn't really tell you anything, but it looks, looks like they're spending a couple of dollars.
It's in the World War One setting.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm really that setting really intrigues me to have a Wonder Woman movie set in. So I'm definitely interested to watch that movie when I might not have been otherwise.
Yeah, and I do like, it has a very desaturated kind of dark tone to the
Uh-huh.
filming, which I dig because I think it's
It's a good look.
good look.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to say it's I like that they're making or they're giving it another go to do a Green Lantern movie. I didn't see the first one because I heard so many bad things, but I think it's cool that they're gonna have like multiple Green Lanterns in it who aren't just like in the background. Like I think Ryan Reynolds was basically like the big star in the first one, and you didn't have like Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner or any of those. And it sounds like in this new one, it's more of like a Green Lantern Corps movie, and you have multiple Green Lanterns kind of like starring, and they describe it as a buddy cop movie. So it
Well,
should be
having
interesting.
seen that Green Lantern movie, I will say they did have the Green Lantern Corps in that movie, but yeah, I mean Ryan Reynolds was definitely the star, and they didn't have.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Jon Stewart was like the co-star who was like had a big part in the movie,
No,
right?
there was only one like Earth Green Lantern, really.
How bad was that movie?
It was bad, um, but you should watch it.
Yeah, I really should.
Like as a fan, you should watch it. Um, but I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if you, I don't know, like it's also like if you like Ryan Reynolds, you might enjoy it. Um, if you enjoy his kind of shtick, you might enjoy it. But if you don't like Ryan Reynolds' shtick, you definitely won't like it.
Yeah, I should give that a try because I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan. I mean, I'm definitely gonna see Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean that looks a lot better though.
Yeah,
um,
true.
anyway,
You know what does not look a lot better on a totally unrelated note, but I keep driving through LA and seeing billboards for the new Fox show Lucifer, which is based on it's supposedly based on the Mike Carey comic of the same name, and that just
yeah,
from the billboard, I mean, and knowing it's a Fox show, and from the billboard, like
you
it's
know,
got to be terrible.
you know what it reminds me of, and this was a show that I think was probably a lot better than Lucifer, but it reminds me of Constantine, where it's like you have a property that you can make a really good show out of, and you're gonna make like a very like weak sauce version of it because
Yeah.
you're Fox as opposed.
Or yeah, or you're or NBC, and
Right.
you do this diluted appeal to as many people as possible type show, and yeah,
Instead of doing like an AMC version of Constantine, which would be awesome.
right. Oh, that would have been awesome. Now I don't want an AMC version. I want a like HBO version where he swears and uh, there's a lot of sexual content and all of that,
Well, yeah, that would be good too.
and he's allowed to smoke. Let's have that, please.
He was
God,
he smoked in the show.
did he?
I think so.
I don't think he did. I thought that was like one of the things like NBC mandated, like we can't show him smoking
I feel like he smoked.
because of this dumbass PC world we live in. All right, enough of that. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try Lucifer because I was a big fan of what I read of the comic, and I can't watch some pretty boy.
What if you hear it's
Just
really good though?
if I hear it's really good, it'll probably get canceled, and I'll be like still unlikely to want to watch it.
Okay. Um,
You're like,
let's
all
talk
right, negative Nancy.
seriously.
Sorry.
Let's talk a little comics news. Uh, little
Oh
Star Wars
yeah,
ongoing coming out, a Poe Dameron ongoing with some Phil Noto art, which looks pretty cool.
yeah. I'm intrigued. Yeah, I definitely want to know more about that character, and it's cool that it's set, in the new time period. Um, the 30 years post Return of the Jedi, because I think so far we've either got prequel stuff or classic trilogy time period stuff. So I think this is the first ongoing Star Wars comic to be in the new era. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Poe's a likable guy. I'm sure. Who's writing it again?
I don't know.
So
I
Phil
just
Noto's doing the art. Is Charles Soule doing it, or am I thinking of the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic? I think he's writing that.
no, he is doing the writing actually.
Oh, Charles Soule is. Wow, so he's just writing every Star Wars comic. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So you gonna read that?
Yeah, I'm down to read that. I like Noto and I like I like Poe Dameron, so
Yeah.
got a
Uh,
got a little Phil Noto right above my head right now.
oh yeah.
You can
That's
see that.
the. Wait, is that the Hulk behind you?
That's Carrie Andrews Hulk. Uh,
Uh,
from
what's the Phil Noto one? It's small. I can't see it.
Beautiful Killer.
Ah, okay. This is scintillating, by the way, for the listeners.
Yes.
You have a commission from Phil Noto on your wall.
I got one. I got two actually, but only one in this room.
Okay, well tell the listeners what it is.
Well, the other one is Black Cat, I think.
Black Cat. But wait, what was the first one? Because I didn't even hardly hear it.
Beautiful Killer.
Beautiful Killer. What's that from?
Beautiful Killer.
Beautiful Killer. Yeah. What's that from?
Beautiful Killer.
A movie or a
A
book or
comic.
what?
A
Oh, I've
comic.
never even heard of that.
Jimmy Palmiotti and Phil Noto.
Hmm. Good times. More comics news.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers is returning his Cap. So
Shocker.
somehow he's going to be de-aged and back in the suit. And
I know. You're shocked too, right?
I know, right? Yeah. Shocking. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do the de-aging thing. That's the only question I have. I haven't read Cap for a while now. I was buying the Rick Remender run, which followed the Brubaker run, and that when Brubaker was writing it, I was really like invested in it. But I bought the Rick Remender one because I heard good things, and it was one of those books that I kind of just like put to the side, and I was going to get to it, and then the whole run ended, and he left the book, and there is like, from what I hear, there is a pretty good complete story there, so I'll probably get to that eventually. But yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, right now, Cap is just not a very interesting character to me. I mean, I think it's partly due to the writers that have been handling him, but yeah, I'm not
I
very interested. I think Nick
I have
Spencer is still on the book.
I have to say the comic. I mean, the cover that they released for Captain America #1, Steve Rogers #1 that they're coming out with is. I mean, it could be more underwhelming, but I'm not sure how.
Oh, I don't know how either. Yeah, it does nothing for me.
I mean,
I'm
especially for
I'm
a #1, like. It
Yeah, I'm completely bored. The last like good Cap related stuff was that Winter Soldier series that Brubaker did. That was the last like favorite Cap thing that I was like pretty into. Because I kind of trailed off at the end of Brubaker's run, and that when he took over on he launched a Winter Soldier book that lasted for like 20 issues. So I was pretty into that, but yeah, I just haven't really been into Cap for a while.
but yeah, I'm not gonna read that.
No, I'm not either. But it's kind of interesting that he's well, it's actually not interesting. It's just predictable.
Predictable.
Yeah. So, anyways, also, I guess I was going to ask you. I just saw that there's a Dark Souls comic that's going to be coming out in April alongside the new game Dark Souls 3. I was just wondering, have you ever played Dark Souls?
Not really, no.
Okay, because if you've ever experienced like a quote story in Dark Souls, you'll know that it's very like obtuse, vague, and pretty much like about as like mysteriously like vague as they can make it. So I'm kind of interested to like read the comic just to see if they're gonna try to like make a semblance of a story, or if it's just gonna be kind of like all action and keep the obtuseness of the video game series has established. I don't know. I just noticed that, and like it would be kind of cool if there was like good creators on there and they told a cool story in that universe. But
And then the game's got a good story finally.
well, yeah, the game is more about like discovering the story, like hidden in the world. So I don't think the game is ever going to have a story that like really like jumps out at you. And fans like it that way because they like to like figure out all the secrets and all of that in the world, but you can't really do that in the comics. So
right. We'll see.
I'll be interested to check out a few issues to see what it does.
So I have to say, I don't know if you've seen this cover yet or not, but there's a comic called Samurai that's out right now. I guess it's a French book that is about samurais. And there's a alternate cover by David Mack that just looks super sick that makes me want to pick up the book. So, just thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Right?
This image is at Comics Alliance. Just search Samurai #2, David Mack.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that makes me. I want to read the book now. It looks badass.
So this is written by a Frenchie, huh?
Yeah.
So this is going to be translated to English, or
yeah, I would assume.
Do we know?
I believe so.
So this is coming out in America.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm interested now too.
Last.
This is actually. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I just noticed this. This is also coming out from Titan Comics. They're publishing it. They're also going to be doing the Dark Souls book.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So this is out. Okay, so this is in this month's previews, I think, or maybe next month's. I'll have to look for it in this month's because I'm like filling out my order right now.
Well, this is issue 2, so I'm not sure about.
I'm gonna have to hit up my boys over at Discount Comic Book Service. See, maybe they can give me that first issue then.
Get that name drop in there.
Yeah, well, they're the best, so I don't mind giving a little plug.
So one other last final news tidbit. I saw HBO released a 7-hour Godfather 1 and 2 remastered, restored edition that I guess came out a long time ago on TV, but apparently it tells the story in chronological order.
Oh wow!
And includes some footage that isn't in the regular theatrical releases.
Mm-hmm.
And they aired it on HBO, and then now it's on HBO Go and stuff. And 7 hours, but it's something I probably would like to check out at some point.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally one that I would want to rip to my media server, watch it like an hour at a time, and just come back to where I left off.
Right.
Jeez.
But enough about news. Let's get to comics.
Are we through news? Was that all the news of the week?
I mean, that was like an hour of news.
Well, it's 35 minutes, JC.
Felt like an hour.
It's just because it's late. That's why. Well, staying on the comics train, we did both read something this week. Finally,
And the same thing.
we both read something together. Yeah. One of my most anticipated number ones to come out from Marvel in the last 3-4 months, whatever, when they've been launching all these new series. Doctor Strange.
You do like the Strange.
I do like the Strange, yes. So I caught up and read the first 3 issues. I believe you did the same.
Yep.
What you think?
Well, who's doing the art? Because the art's fucking badass.
Chris Bacalo.
Okay, yeah. Glad you pronounced that and not me. But yeah, I thought the art is great. I love there's some stuff where they kind of go black and white with like some splashes of color, to kind of like show like when he's in like a magical world or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's more like the extra dimensional plane, and then
Right.
like the people in black and white are represented in the physical plane, but like they can't see him.
Right. But yeah, I mean that looks the book looks great.
Yeah, Chris
My
Bacalo is one of the best working artists in comics today,
Yeah.
hands down.
No, I mean it looks great. My so far, I mean there isn't a ton of story. Obviously, there's someone out there killing people, killing sorcerers, and
Seems like they're trying to rid like all the worlds of magic.
yeah. So it's kind of a magic genocidal culture or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess my gripe with the stories that have in those first 3 issues is there's kind of a lot of hand waving at you don't want to look in there because it would kill you, and you don't want to do this and this and this. Like just saying something that sounds cool but not ever explaining it. Just kind of where I feel like Doctor Strange's character will like describe something but never actually tell me what it is.
Well, I thought those were kind of like gags as he's like taking the girl through his house and throwing stuff like out there, like don't touch that. Actually, don't touch anything. Don't open the refrigerator. Like blah blah blah. Like it was kind of a gag, And
I felt like that was a gag, but then I felt like it kept coming up like throughout different things in the book where he would be describing something, and rather than really feeling like, oh, it's super, like I'm getting what's going on there, just like, well, we're just gonna say it's mysterious and not go into the details of, which is fine, but it just seemed to repeat itself a bunch of times. So that would be my only gripe. I thought like I enjoyed the book.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice
I just
that
felt like
as
they
much.
used that kind of as a crutch to be like, here's how we're describing, showing that this character knows everything, but instead it kind of felt like the guy who's like, I know everything, but I don't really know anything because I'm not telling you anything. I'm just kind of saying stuff that makes it sound like I'm smart. So, but I like the book.
Yeah, I think the book's great, and I'm really excited about having a collection of this eventually. I mean, I've traditionally not been a huge. Well, that's not true. I mean, there hasn't really been a lot of Doctor Strange comics, and I've basically got all the ones that I can think of in recent memory. There was a Doctor Strange mini from Mark Waid a few years ago. It was like 4 issues, and it was when he was like not the Sorcerer Supreme. And that was passed to, I think, Brother Voodoo was the Sorcerer Supreme at the time. Actually, yeah, because it was Doctor Voodoo, because that was a short-lived series, like 5 years ago by Rick Remender, and I love that series, but it was canceled unfortunately after like 5 issues. But I've always kind of followed the character, and I really enjoyed his portrayal in Hickman's Avengers / Secret Wars run. I mean, I haven't got to the end of Secret Wars, but Doctor Strange has exited the story already in Secret Wars, as anyone who's read like a few issues of that series knows. But yeah, I've been waiting for a good Doctor Strange series to come along for a while, and obviously, like, they're throwing a lot of talent at this book because of the movie. You would think that,
Right.
and they want a nice collection on the shelf. But yeah, I just really love. I really love, as fantastical as this book is, it is grounded in kind of like typical, like, mundane things, because I like that Aaron highlights the fact that Doctor Strange is a doctor, and part of his deal is just day to day is he goes around and helps people.
Right.
And he has one line in the book where he says, "I think I'm the last doctor in Manhattan to actually make house calls."
Yeah.
But like there's a scene where he goes in, and actually the way the book starts is he's in this huge, like, other dimensional huge battle, and then it cuts to him like in a small bedroom with this boy who's like unconscious, and the parents are standing right there watching him try to help this boy.
Yeah.
And the battle that he won at the opening scene was they helped the boy wake up and made him okay. So I like that he's kind of grounding things in a way, and like that's the thing that Aaron does so well, is make characters relatable, and give basically any character some humanity that you can empathize with them. And sometimes Doctor Strange is a hard character to get behind and really care about, because the nature of the character is so, like, in a way, just so like vague. Like, you don't, like, his powers are kind of so limitless, and he can kind of do whatever because it's magic. You know what I mean?
Sure. That's just about making good stories, though.
Yeah, and one thing I think Jason Aaron's setting up, which I really appreciate and like, is he's setting up the cost of Strange's magic, and we're gonna see what it means, and what price is to be paid for Doctor Strange using his magic. I mean, there's a scene where he talks to a bunch of different sorcerers and magicians in the Marvel Universe at a bar, and the bartender basically tells him that your day of reckoning's coming because there's a price for everything, and you've been using magic and, like, kind of willy-nilly for a long time, and you haven't really, like, sacrificed a lot to do it. Which, if you've read Hickman's Avengers run, he does kind of sacrifice a lot, but I get the conceit that's being set up.
Right.
So I think that's interesting.
No, I definitely agree that it's interesting. I loved, and I think it was the second issue when they're kind of battling in his house. There's a shot of like some people walking by in front of the house, and they're talking about how boring New York is.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go back to Cleveland, and you just see this, like, I guess, colorful rainbow coming out of the roof of his house, of just like magical explosion kind of thing. And
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that was a good scene. I gotta say, that was part of like that was probably the only thing art wise that I kind of wasn't really okay with because like it was obviously like a computer generated thing.
I thought it was some nice art.
Yeah, but like you could tell that was like a digital thing that was like put over the art.
Well, I liked it.
It stood out to me just because the rest of the art was so amazing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so 3 issues in, I'm definitely intrigued. This
What,
is my favorite new Marvel series.
the one thing I find amusing is they have this, like the description for the book, and it's, when, it's like basically who are you going to call when all these weird things happen, like your daughter's cursing in Latin and walking like a spider and all this stuff, and they're like Doctor Strange, and I was like, oh, I was going to say John Constantine.
It's funny. Obviously, like those are kind of like the counterparts in the different universes, but for some reason, I've never like thought of them as like the opposites in the DC and the Marvel universe. I don't know why. Like,
No, obviously they're very different characters.
yeah.
I mean, John Constantine would never be on the Justice League.
Oh no, never. Except when the New 52 launched.
Well,
Yeah, and the reason being is I never really associated Constantine with the DC universe, and
right.
I still kind of don't, even though they're really trying to shoehorn him into the DC universe now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's Vertigo,
Yeah,
which Vertigo is DC, but blah, blah, blah.
yeah, but no, it's different.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. So definitely enjoying that. For all, just with all the other, I mean, I'm definitely enjoying that more than like Amazing Spidey right now, and I'm mostly reading like Spider titles. I haven't read the new Daredevil yet, but so far of everything new I've read from Marvel, I'm definitely into Doctor Strange the most.
Well, you like the Strange.
I do, as we've established. All right, and we read one other book together in solidarity.
Not at the same time, like reading it to each other page by page. We've read it this week as well.
Yes.
Separately.
Yes. And it is one of the Spider titles I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It is Spider-Gwen. We read the first trade, the first 5 issues, like before they relaunched the book.
We watched that. We read that, and then the first 3 new issues or 4 issues.
Oh, is there 4 issues? Because I think I read. I'm in the middle of the first issue of like the relaunch series, but.
Oh wait! So you didn't read what you were supposed to read?
I read most of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a trend, people. This is a trend. Aaron gets on me about not reading stuff, but then doesn't read stuff himself.
Okay. There was plenty to talk about, and
Okay,
you
good.
kind of get the gist of the character in the first 5 issues. I think is pretty handily establishes her thing. Although I will be interested to hear maybe some new wrinkles that are thrown in the new series. But yeah, Spider-Gwen. What did you think?
Well, so this was my first experience foray into the Spider-Gwen universe, as well as I wasn't reading any of the Spider-Verse stuff, so I didn't really know much about the character. I do like how it's this weird kind of alternate take on the Marvel universe where characters are kind of repositioned and reimagined.
Yeah, let's be, for those of people that haven't read Spider-Gwen, it does take place in basically just an alternate universe.
Right.
And
So
you just have a remix of characters in this universe.
So, she's Gwen Stacy and she's Spider-Man essentially, and Peter Parker is dead, and spoiler alert. And
Just so that we're clear, they do not call her Spider-Man in this comic, though.
yeah, but there's no Spider-Man, is my point.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and this is like in the first issue, but basically the mix up and the tragedy that drives Gwen is actually Peter dying.
right. And, you know, Matt Murdock is working for Wilson Fisk and is a devil, not a daredevil. He's just the devil.
See what you did there?
Yeah. Yeah, so lots of just characters being repositioned.
Yeah, there's some characters that are still like pretty similar, like the Vulture, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's interesting on that level. You know, and I do like that there's this book that has all these female characters that are strong characters. It's you know, it's definitely marketed for that audience, I would think as well. But it's a good book.
Yeah, it's a perfect book for you because this is a book you can just read just that book and you don't have to read any other books. You can just read Spider-Gwen and you don't have to know really like you don't have to know what's going on in like the regular Marvel universe and all the what are the other Spider books are doing. Like you can just read this kind of alone. So it's
Yeah.
good for Mr. JC who doesn't read a lot of Marvel books.
Well, not currently.
Or recently in the past. Or farther back in the past.
You don't know my
When
history.
was the last time you like were really reading a lot of Marvel? Because like the last time you were really reading like a lot of comics, you were reading a lot of DC, right?
I was reading a lot of everything.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot of DC, a lot of Marvel, a lot of indie. You
Mhm.
know,
I
my
need to get
pull
you
li-
back there.
my pull list would have made you look weak.
I gotta get you back there, JC.
Get me some money.
Come on, man. Get on this DCBS train. You'll save a lot of money by using DCBS.
Yeah, I mean, it was more like, you know, I stopped collecting regularly financially, but then also I didn't have the space for all my to continue having this massive collection, and it made more sense to collect trades that I wanted to read. Um,
Yeah. Where is your collection now? Is it back in New York with your parents?
yeah,
Yeah. How many maybe you don't want to admit this on the air, but how many long boxes did you have?
fuck. Look, we've talked a bit about. Um, we're gonna have some guests in the future, including someone who is an old friend of mine from the comic book shop I went to growing up, and um, I'm sure her collection puts mine to shame. But
Uh-huh.
needless to say, I haven't been going to that comic book shop in 10 years, and I hit her up, and she was um, down for the cause. So I guess that should tell you how much I was at that comic book shop.
Wow. So we're gonna get some dirt. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. She knew what my comic collection taste was when I was, you know, 14, 15.
All right, nice. Well, I'm gonna grill her when she's on. Actually, yeah. Don't say anything else. I'm gonna save all my questions for her.
All right.
All right. So yeah, Spider-Gwen was a fun. It's a fun book. I mean,
It's a fun book.
it's pretty
It's harmless.
light. It's
It's
pretty light.
harmless.
What's that?
I said it's a fun book, but it's harmless. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like that cotton candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get you get a little rush, but there's not a lot of lasting impact.
Yeah.
Although I do like that at least in the first arc. I do kind of like that the struggle was her trying to keep her identity secret from her dad, and eventually being unable to do that, and also balancing like her life as a musician and with her band and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a good book, and you know, like I said, I'm down to keep reading just because it is so contained, and you know, I don't need a lot of like a lot of other stuff in there, and you know, it's a fast read, and yeah, I enjoy it. I would be shocked if she doesn't eventually like make her way into the mainline Marvel universe because she is a super popular character now, and I think it would be the right decision to keep her in the regular or keep her in her own like universe. But I would just be shocked if they didn't bring her in as like a gimmick eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that because they're stupid and they like gimmicks. But I think, like you said, it's a much better decision to leave her in her own universe where you can tell the stories you want to tell, and you know you have your own sandbox to play in with this character.
Yeah. So in the first arc, it's kind of about her and her dad and the whole like keeping the identity secret. So far, of what I've read in the first issue, um, I guess it's kind of are we getting into like more about like Peter's death?
Yeah, more into Peter's death, and we get some Captain America appearances.
Oh, really?
Um, who is also a woman. And yeah, you know, there's a whole like Justice League kind of thing going on with that.
Justice League?
Not Justice League, Avengers. Sorry, I'm tired.
DC fanboy.
Um,
I do like too that Frank Castle's in this book and he's like the police captain.
the police captain.
Yeah.
I was
So
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
yeah, no, it's kind of cool. So he's clashing with Gwen's dad.
Captain Stacy.
Yes. Well, he's not Captain Stacy. He's what, Lieutenant Stacy?
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. Anyways, all right. Well, speaking of the Punisher, and speaking of Matt Murdock, because he is in Spider-Gwen, but I was thinking about the show. I was thinking about Daredevil season 2. We were talking about it actually last night, and
That may have happened.
that may have happened, yes. And I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but there's still like, I guess right now I'm kind of like grasping at things to kind of like keep my expectations in check because I feel like I need that because this new season of Daredevil is such a unknown quantity with new showrunners and bringing in like these new characters. I mean, I want to just assume it's going to be great, but I do feel like if I go in with lower expectations, only good things can come of that. You know what I mean, JC?
Well, I think that's true of pretty much everything in life.
Right. Of course.
I think anytime you get really amped up for a movie, you're bound to go into it and be disappointed because hype. You
Yeah.
know, hype is so hard to live up to. So yeah, an amazing first season makes an amazing second season much harder. Doesn't mean
Right.
it's impossible, but it just makes it a lot harder. Unless you go into it saying like, "Hey, this, well, maybe it won't be that good," and then it lives up to that expectation or exceeds it. We won't really know how good a show something. You don't really know how good something is until you're a number of seasons in, and then you can be like, "Oh, well, this is just good all the time."
Yeah. So getting to specifically what I thought or the thing that's keeping my expectations low, and this is kind of like a stupid thing to do that with, but I come back to every like promo thing I've seen for the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't look like Frank Castle to me. And he just looks like a dude who's like an ex-Marine. Like he's got like a shaved head and he's just wearing like just like a friggin' jacket. And like, I don't know, he just doesn't like scream, this is Frank Castle, the Punisher. Maybe this is like Punisher year 0 or something where he just became the Punisher. And I mean, like, I wonder if we're even going to see like the skull shirt in this season, you know?
I feel like I saw something with the skull shirt.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I know it's like a dumb thing to like have to.
I feel like it's in the trailer.
No, the trailer is just him, like, you just see like the back of his head like walking through that hospital or whatever.
You're wrong.
Never.
Usually.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I was just like, that was just something I was thinking about, and I know it is kind of a dumb thing to like hold against a show that hasn't come out yet, but anything to keep the expectations low.
Yeah.
And one last thing I wanted to mention, because I'm not sure if you saw this when it came out, but have you seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? Most recent Apes movie?
No.
You would not. All right, you need to watch that movie, JC.
Okay.
That is a fine, solid movie. I really enjoyed watching that again. I saw it once in the theater, and then I just went back a couple days ago and rewatched it. And man, that's a good movie.
Okay.
Performances are awesome. It's mostly, like, I would say 60% of the movie is just the apes, like following the apes around, which is awesome. Like, there's definitely there's a human story in there, but it's definitely about the apes, and I think that's really cool. Did you see the first one, Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
No.
No. I guess you're not a big Apes fan.
I saw what was the one before that.
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, or oh, you mean the Tim Burton movie?
Yeah, I saw that one and it sucked. So
Yeah. Did you like any of the classic ones?
yeah, of course. But yeah, I think that Tim Burton one kind of turned me off, and then
Yeah, I think after the Tim Burton movies, the expectations were pretty low, which is why it was kind of cool that the movies were actually like really good.
yeah.
This recent one was definitely the best one, but Rise was pretty good too. All right. Well, JC, you got anything else you want to talk about this week? It is getting kind of late.
I think I'm good, man.
Once again, R.I.P. Hans.
Happy trails, Hans.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you. What was a bigger loss to you, David Bowie or Alan Rickman?
Rickman.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, David Bowie, it's great.
Yeah, David Bowie meant more to more people, but to me, and I think people maybe of my generation more, Alan Rickman was there for some awesome stuff. And we will miss you. All right, man. Well, people, thanks for joining us. You can follow the show at thecomicstew.com. That's where we post everything. You can follow us on Twitter at thecomicstew. We're on YouTube, and you can email us at thecomicstew@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired, JC.
All right.
I'm glad you're enthused too. All right, people. Catch you next week. Have a good one.
Happy New Year, people.
You can't say that.
Why
we
not?
said that like last week.
Oh.
It's like 3 weeks in the new year.
But it's still the new year, right?
You're just saying happy 2016?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, can we just say that all year?
Yeah,
Have a great rest of 2016.
yeah, why not?
Okay.
Don't be a dick.
All right. Well, have a great rest of 2016.
All right.
Later.
Later.